On December 27, 1892, Livingstone and Biddle College, now known as Johnson C. Smith University, played in Salisbury, North Carolina, with Biddle winning 5-0. Over time, HBCU football has evolved. HBCU football's popularity continues to rise. Millions attend games each year and millions more watch on television. The HBCU bands provide some of the top entertainment in the country. Over that time, some of the best players to ever play in the National Football League played at HBCUs. Every Monday through Friday on the HBCU Football Daily Podcast, national radio and television host Donal Ware takes a look at what's happening in HBCU football and talks with coaches, players, administrators, and media about the season. Make sure you join the conversation on social media. Now, here's your host, Donal Ware.
You've got it locked to the HBCU Football Daily Podcast for today, Monday, July the 24th. I'm Donal Ware. It is our 7th season of the HBCU Football Daily Podcast. We're super excited. We're going to start things off today with a conversation with North Carolina Central head football coach Trei Oliver, who joined us on the countdown to kickoff in Durham on Saturday, July the 15th. It was a great event. And for Trei Oliver, leading the Eagles to their first HBCU national championship since 2006. Had a great conversation with Trei Oliver of North Carolina Central. Watch and take a listen.
We are here at the Sticks and Vines in Durham. If you happen to be watching this, come on down. It's a great time. 8 of the 9 head football coaches from the HBCUs in North Carolina are here, and this is our 6th countdown to kickoff. And a gentleman that has joined us for a couple of years, as a matter of fact. This is his 3rd one, because he came in 2019, his first year at Central, then came in 2021 when we did this. He is now here with us. Trei Oliver in his 5th season as the head coach of North Carolina Central, the HBCU National Champion Eagles. Trei Oliver joining us on the program. What's going on, Coach Oliver?
Man, not too much, man. Thank you for having me, man. It's good to be out here, and I see this thing's growing every year.
It is. A lot of the great people coming out, and we really appreciate that. When I say that to you, you took over this job in 2019, missed a year in 2020 because of COVID, and now the Eagles, HBCU national champions. What does that mean to you?
That's what it's all about. That's why they brought me here, to win a championship. So it was a process. You know, we struggled in 19, and we saw some growth. But, you know, for me to be an alum and for us to be able to win a national championship, that means a lot. I've been on a lot of successful teams, but when you're the head coach, when you're the head football coach and you got your name on it, that hits a little bit different.
Started the season out with a big win in Charlotte last year over North Carolina A&T. And I know you had been an assistant coach there under, Rod Broadway and so forth. That was, anytime you get a win is great, but if you can get a win over A&T, that makes it even sweeter, right?
Oh, definitely. And they have a great program down there in Greensboro. And, but, it was definitely a big win. They had got us the last 2 years. But for us to be able to beat them in the Charlotte stadium, in that environment, that venue, it was unbelievable. It was electrifying.
Specifically, the victory over Jackson State in the Celebration Bowl. Really good football game. Looked like you may have had it wrapped up. They scored the touchdown late. Doesn't faze you guys. You score and then hold them. Speak to what that victory and getting that victory over Jackson State meant for you and this program.
We talked about getting better every week. It didn't matter the opponent and all that stuff. So a lot of the folks, were reading the newspaper and the clippings and had kind of crowned them guys champs. And our guys didn't flinch. We just came out and did what we had done all season. So we weren't surprised when we were in that situation late in the game that we were in it. But like you said, we should have closed it out in regulation. But our guys had something on their mind. In overtime, we didn't throw the ball one time. We ran the ball every possession, every down in overtime. So it was a physical contest, and they didn't want that smoke though.
No doubt. I mean, you had a lot of HBCU Nation really cheering for you in that game. The fake punt. Speak to that. That was really a turning point and a huge play in that football game.
Right. We came out in the third quarter, and we were down. They stopped us in our first possession, and we were backed up, I believe, on the minus 28. And, of course, nobody's expecting you to fake a punt on the minus 28, but, you got to put the money, you got to put the chips in. But, it was something we had practiced all year long, and we knew it was going to be there. And, it's just about calling it. You got to have some guts, I guess you can say. I can say guts to call that play. I'm going to leave that alone.
Yeah. Did you expect to be this program to be where it is 4 years? Well, now you're going into your fifth season, but 4 years in, did you expect it to be where it is?
I knew we could be here if we had the backing from the administration. You have to have good players, you have to have really good coaches, but the administration has to support the athletic program and football program for you to have a chance. And our chancellor and our athletic director, Dr. Perkins, have done an outstanding job with supporting us and giving us what we need to be successful. So, we're on track.
North Carolina Central head football coach Trei Oliver joining us here on the countdown to kickoff. We are, of course, at Sticks and Vines in Durham, and really appreciate those tuning in and those that have joined us in the audience. I got to talk about this kid, Davius Richard, your quarterback. I remember him going back to his true freshman year, 2019. He was like, what, third string, maybe? Fourth string. And, watching him play, I was like, man, this guy's going to be really good. And it manifested itself this year, and specifically in the Celebration Bowl, because everybody else was talking about the other quarterback for Jackson State. People weren't talking about Davius Richard, but he really came to play. Speak to how well he's played, not just last year, but how he's grown in the program.
Well, he's been very consistent, great young man. And you see him develop every week. Every year you see him just get a lot better. And I said mid-season he's the best quarterback in Black College. Now, I said he probably is not going to get the MVP because he's not going to have the numbers. When we get up 3 scores in the fourth quarter, I'm pulling my quarterback. We're not trying to embarrass anybody, run the score up. And secondly, you have to give your backup quarterback some quality reps. So, he probably 5 games he didn't play in the fourth quarter this year, so that kind of killed his numbers. But next year, we're going to let him go.
No doubt about it. And he's the guy. But now Collier comes back for you as the running back.
Yes, sir.
Yes, so you got him, and speak about him, what he means, and then the rest of that offense as well.
Well, Mookie's another great young man. If you have an opportunity to ever talk to him, he's a yes sir, no sir type guy. He's already graduated. He's working on his master's right now. But very physical young man, great balance, great acceleration, and very, very physical. I think he showed that in the Celebration Bowl with that stiff arm heard around the world. But then we have Jamari Taylor, another running back behind him. I think that's just as good. On the outside, our skill position, our receivers, I think we're very talented there. We're very deep there. Tight ends, it's going to be a couple new faces there, but we're a lot of talent. A couple of holes we had to plug into that offensive line. I think that was the biggest difference last year. We were extremely good up front. So with 3 guys we had to replace there. But we had some young guys that had a whole lot of quality reps last year. So I'm excited to see how those guys progress throughout the summer.
On the defensive side of the football, you look at a guy like a Khalil Baker, who was an HBCU All-American defensive back. Speak about him and the rest of the defense. And, Brandon Codrington also comes back, but I believe, right, but also as a return man as well. But let's speak to the defense and how good this defense can be in 2023.
Last year I said we didn't have a whole lot of star power because so many guys chipped in and played their role. But we're very talented. A lot of those guys have played for 3 or 4 years now. But KB, Khalil Baker is the leader back there. He and Brandon Codrington, Manny Smith. And then we got a bunch of really, really talented young guys coming in as well. So we have to create some more turnovers. That was one thing I was not pleased with last year. We didn't create enough turnovers, whether it be interceptions or fumble recoveries. So we got to improve there. But we have a lot of guys on the defense side of the ball that played a lot of quality reps.
And then in the return game, it seemed like teams aren't kicking the ball to Codrington because he's so. I remember, what was that, 2 years ago? Was it Mississippi Valley State? That game where he returned that Alcorn. That's right, in the MEAC SWAC Challenge. It's a big. That was a tide-turning return. But talk about him, guys. They're not kicking to him.
Yeah, they kind of changed the game plan a little bit. So they kind of kept the ball away from him a little bit. But we try and do some things with 2 returners back there to try to get the ball in some guys' hands. But he's not the only one. We have a couple more, Chris Mosley and a couple other guys back there that can really make you play. So, he's going to get some touches this year, and we can hope that he can put some in the box like he did back in 2021.
Going out to UCLA, that's major. You're going out to LA. Everybody knows UCLA getting ready to make the move to the Big Ten. How did that game or this game come about?
Their athletic director is from Fayetteville, and he and my family go to church together down at First Baptist Church down there. And he and Dr. Wickham McCree have a great relationship as well. So he's very familiar with North Carolina Central University. And when he got the job there, they wanted to try to get a HBCU on the schedule. So it made sense for them to reach out to us and try to work it out. So told me I had to get the numbers right, though.
Yeah, numbers, I'm sure, right?
Close.
I mean,
they're pretty good.
Good. Not bad?
Not bad.
Okay.
I'm going to donate so we can get this echo out of here.
All right. And then for you, right, for your team, first 3 games you're at A&T, UCLA, Mississippi Valley State in the Circle City Classic, away from O'Kelly Riddick Stadium.
You forgot about those Rams opening.
Oh, that's right. You're at home first. I'm sorry. So you start.
Yeah. Let's not forget about them people.
Yeah, right. That's been a nice little rivalry there. But talk about that and being away from home. Not the first game, but the next 3 games after that.
We have a brutal schedule, and for us to be able to, try to stay in the top 25 nationally and keep that ranking, you have to have a competitive schedule. So that's why we tried to reach out and play these guys non-conference, the Campbells and the Elons and of course, A&T, UCLA. So, we have to try to play these top 25 teams so you can stay ranked.
And then, your thoughts on, you lost a guy or 2 to the transfer portal, I think, this year. So a couple of big guys, actually, as a matter of fact. But kind of, I want to get your thoughts on the transfer portal as a whole and where it is in college football.
The transfer portal and NIL have destroyed college football. I don't believe in the transfer portal. We built our team right now with high school student athletes. If you look at our roster, whether it's the quarterback, Richard, all conference, all American, KB, all these guys are high school players. Torselli Simpkins, our best players are high school players. So I really don't mess with the transfer portal. A lot of them guys in there can't play. So I like to go recruit high school young men that want to come to North Carolina Central, buy into the program, and let's go from there. Now that we have the program, the foundation set, we can go out here and take 1 or 2. Because sometimes you might lose a guy, you have to get somebody in late. But I don't like the transfer portal. I think it gives young men an opportunity to run away from competition, and rather than really compete. So,
well, what do you say to a guy when he says, "I'm going in"? Like, you've had some guys that are going into the portal.
May God bless you. I lost one of my best offensive linemen to the University of Maryland. He had I think he signed for about $70,000 NIL deal. So it's hard to tell a 21-year-old kid not to take $70,000. But if you go to NFL, you get drafted. $70,000 is not much money. But treat him right. That's all you can do.
Give it up for Trei Oliver, the head football coach at North Carolina Central.
So again, Trei Oliver, the head football coach of North Carolina Central, first up on this year's edition of the HBCU Football Daily Podcast. Again, the HBCU Football Daily Podcast you can watch on YouTube, on the BOXTOROW YouTube channel, Monday through Friday. You can also listen and download the podcast at BOXTOROW.com as well as iHeartMedia.com as well. On tomorrow, we're going to take things to Salisbury, North Carolina, and say hello to Sean Gilbert, the head football coach of Livingstone. Don't forget to tell a couple of friends about the HBCU Football Daily Podcast, all things HBCU football, where you can find us again on the BOXTOROW YouTube page, as well as BOXTOROW.com and iHeartMedia.com. Talk with you tomorrow.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of the HBCU Football Daily Podcast. You can also listen to the podcast at BOXTOROW.com, iHeartMedia, or wherever you get your podcasts. Don't forget to get your HBCU football fix on BOXTOROW with Donal Ware each weekend on the radio station near you, and on SiriusXM on HBCU, Channel 142, and on ESPNU Radio on SiriusXM, Channel 84. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at BOXTOROW for the latest in HBCU football, and don't forget to tell a friend. Here's the alternate read. We hope you enjoy this episode of the HBCU Football Daily Podcast. You can watch on our YouTube page on YouTube at HBCU Football Daily Podcast. Don't forget to get your HBCU football fix on BOXTOROW with Donal Ware each weekend on a radio station near you, and on SiriusXM on the HBCU channel, Channel 142, and on ESPNU Radio on SiriusXM, Channel 84. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for the latest in HBCU football, and don't forget to tell a friend.